1,000 times, the promoter's going to say, well, I'll give you 30% of your ticket sales plus 3 and 3. That guy can walk out of there with, $2,000, $3,000 in his pocket just from selling tickets alone, So you have that fight set up. Now you look at, okay, is it the manager's fault? Well, the manager, if he's looking out for the fighter, which I told you this 1,000 times, even I would never in one of my fighter's wildest dreams put him in a situation where a guy has 13 fights and you have 4 fights. Not going to happen. I don't care how much you're going to get paid. The whole David Griffin, Houston Alexander. I don't care if you're 205 and you're making your pro debut. You're not going to do it against Houston Alexander. Not going to happen. Most managers out there get 20%, 30% of what they make or what a fighter makes, regardless. So if you weigh in and let's just say you get $300 to show, 20% of that, $60. That goes in the manager's pocket. If he wins, another $60. There's 120 out of that. Then you look at who else failed. You go to the promoter who set the fight up, knowing each of the guys' records. So is this promoter friends with the guy that is 8-5 who can sell a lot of tickets because he doesn't want him to lose in front of his friends and family, so he's going to set him up with an easy fight. But then it goes up to the ISKA because the fight card has to be turned in. So somebody there had to rubber stamp it and say, this is a good match. Then it goes to the Athletic Commission, and they have to look at what the ISKA does, and they have to look at it. Okay, good fight, good fight, good fight, good fight. They rubber stamp it. So you have 2 sanctioning bodies right there in the Athletic Commission and the ISKA where, I believe they let Michael Kirkham and his family down. I mean, they really did. Somebody had to stop that fight before it happened, and they didn't do it. We would be having this conversation back in June if the same thing happened to David Griffin. Could you imagine the heat the South Carolina Athletic Commission would have felt if this would have happened to David Griffin? Being a firefighter, I mean, that's ridiculous. But because David Griffin is a physical specimen and, held his own, I mean, he did a phenomenal job. He wasn't 6'9" and 150 pounds,
Right.
So you're looking at two, I'm trying to compare apples to oranges, and you can't do it.
Yeah.
But I believe the South Carolina Athletic Commission failed, and I believe the ISKA failed.
Yeah, and hopefully something will change. Something will come of this. I think I heard them correctly, and I'm hoping I did not. But when the news covered this up there in Aiken, they signed off with the family of the fallen. They didn't want to comment, or they didn't want to appear on camera, but they did leave a comment that he died for like a righteous cause or something. And that
my Lord. No.
Because he didn't. He's not over in Afghanistan fighting. He didn't pull anybody out of a burning building. He stepped in the cage when he wasn't ready. And that's just, I'm sorry. I know they just lost one, but that's ignorance, and it does not do the sport any justice.
Right.
I don't know. Will there be any change that comes out of here? That's now the new thing. Will the promoters step up?
Well, I don't think it's the promoter. I mean, you got to look at the bigger picture. I mean, the promoter did nothing wrong. He put a show on, and I mean, he wanted a good show. He got a good show. But I think the biggest thing you have to look at is the ISKA. They do kickboxing. Leave it at that. They have no clue what they're doing in MMA. None. Mm-hmm. And I've been at several fights just down here in South Carolina where I've seen the referees not stop fights. And, I mean, the people are completely knocked unconscious, and the guy's still, pounding away on top of them. And, I mean, it's really ridiculous. It's like taking a boxing judge and telling them to go judge a pie eating contest. I mean, it really is. It's a joke. And, I mean, when I first got down here, I went into the Athletic Commission, and I begged them, please, let me use my knowledge. Let me use my resources to help you guys out, with learning you or teaching you guys the rule or, instructing you guys on the rules, going over different things. And they looked me right in the face and said, How do you know Bernie Provato from Ohio, the athletic commissioner? Well, I've worked with him. You know, I've done 5 shows up in Ohio myself. The NAAFS, Greg Kalikas, Steve Hyman. Those guys are phenomenal. And that's where Jason Dent, Ryan Madigan, Ben Rothwell, Nick Sword, Torrance Taylor have all come out of. That in what's his name, Pets, that just fought in the UFC. I mean, they've all used that as a stepping stone to go into the bigger shows. They've sanctioned fights. They're their own sanctioning body. And when we tell the athletic commission, hey, look, we're willing to fly down here and teach you guys how to run a legit show, they wanted nothing to do with it. So it's like, where does that leave you? You know, and then stuff like this happens, you know. And like I said, I mean, all I can say is I hope people get on MMAjunkie.com and donate to Michael Kirkham's family. I really do. I mean, it's a sad situation that never should have happened. But I mean, who's to say a month ago we wouldn't have been doing this about David Griffin,
right?
Houston Alexander. You know, I mean, it really is a sad experience, but it's too little, too late. You know what I mean? It's, you know, the guy died, and now we're talking about it. You know, so what do we do from here? Like you said, what do we do from here? What's going to happen from here?
It's a good question, and you know, we really want.
That's the word.
And the shows, the promoters are popping up here in South Carolina, like, you know, they
use
smell
that term
the money.
very loosely. Use that term very loosely, please.
Yeah, it's true. I mean,
you got guys with, you know, money that, oh, this is so easy, I can make $1 million overnight. That's not the way it's done by any means. That's not the way it's done.
Yep, they see Dana White on Twitter, and he's got the nice cars. People are chauffeuring him around. He's loved by everyone, and they want to be him. They want to be him, and it just can't happen. Dwight, you know, we've run into extra time here. We'd love to have you back on the air on some lighter notes. Shout out to your, give us your website for your for Blackforce MMA, where you train at, in case anybody wants to go down and you know, get some knowledge the real way and not bagging on a, you know, backyard.
We're located over here in Summerville, South Carolina, 890 Bacon Bridge Road, Summerville, South Carolina, 29485. We have 3 new instructors in there. We have a brown belt under Machado. We have a Thai instructor in there, and we also have a boxing instructor in there. We just picked up a program called MMA Fit for all the soccer moms and girls out there that don't want to be an MMA fighter. They just want the most intense training that they can get. And also our website is www.blackforcemma.com. And also, if I could, I'd like to throw a shout-out to In the Cage for Cancer. It's a phenomenal organization. It's In the Cage, the number 4, cancer.com. Phenomenal organization for kids with cancer. And if you can check that website out, make sure you have a box of Kleenexes. I don't care how big a guy you are, you definitely will get a tear in your eye.
Nice. We spoke on in depth on that story after I, you know, the first week after I came back from covering your event out there. So our listeners should be well familiar on that subject. So
well, I appreciate it, and so does his family.
Definitely. We thank you, Dwight, for stopping by, and we'll sure to talk to you soon.
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
All right, guys. That's Dwight Decker, Blackforce MMA out of Summerville, South Carolina. Kind of a eerie note to leave off on, guys. Do we have anything to look forward to between now and next Monday?
Fedor is no longer about the world is coming to an apocalypse.
Fedor, I thought it was going to be Brock, too. You know, 2 guys that I hope to see in the cage at one time. Now, Fedor screwed it up. Darn Fedor, he has ruined it. Before we leave, one more thing to touch on real quickly. Has Fedor's legacy or from here on out, has it been tainted?
I don't think it has.
No.